Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Melf's Musings. This week's topic is crowd-funded games. Classic game series that have gotten the chance to be reborn on modern consoles thanks to places like Kickstarter and IndieGoGo. There are many facets to this issue, and I want to talk about what I think are the good points and the bad points, because there are bad points to crowdfunding. Some of these bad points can actually be pretty damaging to not only the game series that failed to be revived successfully, but also to game remakes in general. But we'll get to that in a second. First, let's start on a positive note. Let's look at the good stuff. First thing is, when you look at all the crowdfunding attempts that we've seen recently, if you follow Sega 16, you'll notice that there have been so many of them recently that we had to start a new feature series called Teasers, just to cover them all. We saw attempts to revive Mutant League Football, General Chaos, Shaq Fu. I think also recently, it wasn't through crowdfunding, but Shadow the Beast is coming back. And the most recent series to get the crowdfunding treatment has been Target Earth, known as Assault Suit Lenos in Japan. This has been really interesting to see that all these game series from the Sega Genesis era, specifically from the Sega Genesis, are actually making a comeback. I'm very happy to see that. That can be seen as a good thing. I mean, these franchises get a second chance. That's the first good point we can look at. These are series that we may have thought to be long forgotten. I mean, some people may look at them and say, oh, like, who wanted to play Boogerman again? You know, who wanted to play another James Pond game? Both those were also made attempts at coming back via crowdfunding. But the fact is that there are people out there who may want to play these games. I mean, James Pond was in 3 games. So obviously there were enough people out there who wanted to play them that they made 2 sequels. But the fact is that those are just examples of games, of series that actually tried to make a comeback so far. You know, for every James Pond that people complain about, or for every Boogerman that some people complain about, there's Target Earth. I have not heard anyone who has been negative about Target Earth making a comeback. That's a series that never should have gone away in the first place. So we have the opportunity now to see franchises that we thought were long dead and we've been lamenting for the better part of 2 decades now that were dead, and now we can see them brought back and given a fresh lease on life, and that is a good thing, I think. Another good thing is that games through crowdfunding are no longer beholden to what some suits in a boardroom deem to be appropriate or a potential hit. If anyone's read our Sega 16 interview with Max Senauer, he used to be a producer for Sega, he details in that interview how about a dozen producers passed on Gunstar Heroes before it got to him. And if he had passed on it, it would have stayed in Japan. And he instantly fell in love with it and said, we got to release this. And of course, there was a lot of, oh no, this game's not going to be successful. It sold well, maybe didn't set the world on fire, but it has gone on to become the seminal Sega Genesis run-and-gun game. It's considered a classic. Crowdfunding games don't have that problem because crowdfunding games, the fans decide. And that's a double-edged sword. I'll get to that in a minute. But on the light side of it, on the good side, the fans get to decide if the game should come back, not some guy in an air-conditioned office. So that's a good thing, that the games are no longer beholden to the whims of the publisher, and instead of getting that sequel to that game we really want, they go and release the rehash to some game that sold well, but, you know, nobody really was looking forward to another sequel of it. Another good point is that these games give new generations of gamers the opportunity to play them, to see what it is that we've been going on about for 2 decades. For the last 20 years, people have been telling me all this crap about Target Earth, and I don't want to go and get a Genesis and try it out, or get a Super Nintendo to play Cybernator, which everyone should. If you own a Genesis, you should have Target Earth in your collection, and if you own a Super Nintendo, which you should have Cybernator. Both are awesome games, Well, hey, look, a new version, a remake of Target Earth is coming out, and it's coming out on the PlayStation 4 at the end of 2014, at the end of this year. Download it, and if you like it, go back and get Cybernator, go back and get Target Earth. Show that you enjoyed this game and you want more. You know, vote with your wallet. Something that you actually have the chance to do now. You know, I backed quite a few of these Kickstarters, failed Kickstarters. Mutant League Football, I backed that. I would really like to have seen a new Mutant League Football. I'm really, really sad that Michael Menheim wasn't able to get the support needed to bring that series back. I think that gamers today are missing out on a really fun series. But like I said, that's a double-edged sword. That's part of the bad aspects of it. And that's really the first bad thing I can think of about this, is that often fan bases aren't big enough to support these franchises successfully. You know, you have a very vocal minority. So there may be a lot of loud people saying they want a new Mutant Football, or they want a new James Pond, or they want even this new Target Earth coming out, or even Shaq Fu. You know, but the proof is in the pudding. When the Kickstarter is opened and it goes on for 30 days and it doesn't get 10% of its goal, the fans are really saying, you know what, maybe we really don't need another one of those games. And so that's it, you know, and that leads to the second bad aspect I can think of. If the developer, the guy who actually made this game, without any of the constraints and restrictions of a publisher, he's free to be as creative as he wants. He can even, in the Kickstarter, tell me, you the fans, tell me what you want to see in this new game, and we'll put it in there. If under those circumstances, he can't get the money needed, then it was most likely never meant to be. And once that Kickstarter closes and it didn't reach its goal, chances are that's it, it's dead. Because nobody can say, oh, the developer wanted to do it, the fans wanted it, but Konami didn't want to bring it out, or Capcom was too naive or too ignorant or too blind to bring it out. No. I mean, the fans told the developer to his face, no thank you. So the developer is probably going to look at that and say, in many cases, well, okay, fine, you know, to heck with it. You told me you don't want it, so I'm going to move on to something else. And if that happens enough, the third negative I can think of is that if that happens enough, that too many failed crowdfunding projects might make other developers look and say, you know, I was thinking about attempting to revive this particular franchise, but you know what? I don't think that would work too well given for what I've seen. You know, you see a lot of these projects die, like Boogerman, James Pond, Mutant League Football, General Chaos, and Kickstarter quickly can become the killing fields of crowdfunding projects, of Genesis revivals, because all these series dead and buried because they didn't get the support that was needed. And too many of those might make other developers who are considering bringing back a series say, I'm not going to risk it because look what's happened so far. Nobody's supporting these projects. Now, of course, it all depends on the game. If Yuzo Koshiro were to come with his sister and say, we want to revive Streets of Rage, you know, we don't have the rights to it, so we're going to call it Roads of Fury or whatever the hell, I guarantee you that he would get the support. If you don't believe me, look at Mighty Number 9. The creator of Mega Man, Inafune-san, basically is creating, instead of Mega Man, he's like Ultra Dude. You know, it's basically the same game, just without the name. And the thing reached its stretch goals like almost instantly. I mean, like, I can imagine his computer started to billow smoke and the server exploded from all the donations that came in so fast. So they can work, but that might be an exception. Maybe we haven't just seen the right games with the right fan bases, but also we might see, you know, a lot of other developers get scared off. I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't. I'd like to see more Mighty Number 9s, and I'd like to see somebody make a Road of Fury. Hell, I'd buy that. So yeah, Mr. Koshiro, get on that. I think when Watermelon's new fighter, new brawler comes out, we're going to see, maybe, hopefully, somebody will look and say, hey, you know, people are buying that. Maybe there is hope for this yet. Maybe we can actually do this. Since Sega's obviously never going to re-release Streets of Rage or bring it back. So, but yeah, tell me what you think. Thumbs up the video, comment below. You know, did I miss anything? Was there anything you agree with, don't agree with? Subscribe if you haven't. Tell me if you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy listening to them as much as I enjoy making them. So, and as always, head on over to Sega16.com and check out our reviews, features, and interviews. All our content published weekly. And as always, stay well. Until next time, take care.